it will be alright.
Hello Lemoncherry, so I released this song the other day that I really liked and it's taken me all summer to work on, and I just thought I'd tell you a little bit more about it so you'd understand more of the background. Now the original idea came to me in about March when I realized that there were a lot of people on YouTube that I wanted to be friends with but didn't really know how to approach them. And I hate to admit that the original lyrics were actually just calling out specific vloggers that I wanted to be friends with in the hopes that my subscribers would Twitter spam them so that I could be friends with them. But I hate to use people like that, and I also realized that I already had a lot of good friends on YouTube that I wouldn't trade for the world. So then the song came to be about me just talking to my friends saying, hey, let's keep being friends. So a lot of them sent in footage way back when, and I just never got around to recording it because the guitar part that I wrote was really hard. And then VidCon happened and the meaning of the song changed again. And then came the lyrics that you actually heard. And that's all I really have to say about the meaning of the song, because what I really want to talk about is the music. So for those of you who are already classical music nerds, you may have noticed that it's in sonata form. And if you didn't notice, well, now you know! It was a musical challenge that I presented to myself because I realized that it could actually be quite possible to put a regular, like, rock-type song in sonata form. And of course, this song was a little too cheesy to be called rock, but I don't really know what else to call it. But because I realized that most of you won't know sonata form until I do the Music for Muggles episode on it, and those of you who already know sonata form won't need to be taught it, I'll just put the form right here. And now you know how it's sonata form. One thing that a lot of people noticed is that it reminded them of a song from Pixar. That is not a coincidence. All of the melodies are actually based on this simple musical idea, which is actually a quote from the song You've Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story, which goes like this. So you may have noticed that people actually whistle that exact tune in the song. But the main melody of verse 1 is actually not much different if you think about it. Because if you just take the G and put it an octave up, it sounds like this. Which you may recognize as, I've been watching you. And then all I did was move it down for the second part of the verse, you don't know. And this, my friends, is what we call in the music world, motivic development. And so in order to follow sonata form, I actually had to put verse 2 in a different key than verse 1. And you may remember that the tune sounds like this, which is actually just the main melody upside down. So I'm still keeping the same musical ideas together. Now the thing that actually spurned this whole musical idea for me was what it would sound like if someone did a fugue in a rock song, which you guys may recognize better as the a cappella break. And that part actually gave me a few headaches because there are a lot of rules about fugue. A fugue is basically like a round or a canon, but with a lot of extra rules. And let me just say, I wanted to make sure that my fugue had perfect counterpoint. And it did, which makes it hard to sing sometimes. But I pulled it off, so that was fun. So one of the things that you may have noticed about sonata form is that it's not verse, refrain, the way most songs go, but this is actually like verse 1, verse 2, break, and then the same tune as verse 1, and then the same tune as verse 2. And if you didn't hear the verse 2 theme come back, that's because I wasn't singing it the second time, I was playing it on bass clarinet. And with the magic of proprietary rights, I actually have each of those tracks separated. So you can hear verse 1.
We could go out for a night on the town, we could play cards or die.
And then you can hear the tune come back in the bass clarinet when it's repeated. Ta-da! And then so you may have noticed that the part that I was singing in the final verse 2 was actually what was being played by the clarinets the first time. So I don't know at all how clear that was. I hope you guys at least enjoyed it and picked a few things out of it. And I will see you next time.
Steve, why exactly do you like tea? Tea. 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 So much?
Singing in the original verse 2 was, this is getting really complicated. I need to learn how to explain things.